yeah, and so forth. So welcome everybody. Again, Jerry here, Execute Fitness. And of course, this is our roundtable. We are doing this thing almost like bi-weekly now. We're making sure that we have everybody paying attention to that. Excellent. Welcome everybody. Today, again, this is a very, very hard topic. This is difficult. This is difficult to teach. My apology in the beginning if I don't get through how it should be. In our seminar that we're going to run probably somewhere next month or so, I'm going to try to have a good speaker that is going to speak in about this particular topic. And this is why I was actually introduced to by somebody within the VIP here. And she's very good. She's a coach herself. I'm going to introduce to her if she decides to come into the seminar and speak about this. This topic, today we're talking about emotion, not only emotional heating, emotional triggers. We're talking about the limbic system. We're talking about the part of the brain that has control over 90% of our day, right? I'm going to use some material that I found, regard to several good speakers. And of course, a small disclaimer, I'm going to use technical things. I'm going to speak about what the paradox was referred as. This is by no means about you believing or not believing into something, right? So I'm going to touch about Steven Peters, which he developed. He had a book, he had a presentation. It's called the chimp paradox, right? So by all of you, no matter if you believe in creation or evolution or whatever you believe, I don't want people getting offended of it. This is nothing to do with what you believe. This is to do with I'm going to use this technical kind of like comparison to make a sense of what we're actually doing. So I cannot care less what you all believe, and definitely I'm not going to share what is my belief. I think we're bigger than that. So what we want to do here, I'm going to tell you how to beat your demons, right? I went live and I said a few weeks ago that I beat my demons when I went out. I used to drink, I used to party. I kind of like didn't know how to kind of like go away from these bad habits. These bad habits coming from not only things that obviously we do or like triggers, but when the bad habits are ingrained into your life, then you keep the bad habits. Okay, so how do you beat your demons? The thing is that you need to understand where they're coming from in the first place. So we got this all the time happening to us. We have Steven Peters talked about having three parts of the brain that he kind of gave a name to this part of the brain, right? So part of the brain, number one, is us, the frontal lobe, which is us as humans. We kind of like rationale. We're very rational on decisions. We know what we should do. Then there is the parietal side, which is the computer, technically, right? The computer is much faster than anything else. It processes information. It processes everything that we get thrown at us by the marketplace, by everything. So when you see somebody that you want to look like her, right? You processing information is like, this is what I should look like, right? And then there is the limbic system. The limbic system is a small part of the brain, yet is one of the most powerful, right? Which is technically, and this is why I said this thing before, which is technically defined as the chimp, the chimpanzee, the monkey, the instinct part of the brain. So it's kind of like whether or not whatever you believe is the emotional part of the brain. This is governed 90% of our thoughts. This is like what we do 90% of the time on the day is governed by that. It's come from the instinct. It's coming from us being or not being present on the moment in time. It's coming from us being reactive. It's coming from us judging things. It's coming from us looking at food, reacting, even though you know you should not be eating, you want to eat it. It's coming from us by looking at cookie, right? And you say, I'm looking at this cookie, I can choose not to eat it. If I throw this cookie away, in my mind, it's still going on. I'm still thinking about the cookie. So you still have the emotional part of the brain taking the bigger hit. Why? Is because the instinct part is really much faster than what is all the rest. So the computer is the faster, but a computer doesn't have the power to choose. The instinct has the power to choose, and then there is us making rationale. Okay? This is why when all of you came into this program, I said, I need commitment. I need you to decide whether or not you're going to do the work. And some people jump into the commitment right away. Some people say, I want to think over if I'm going to be committed or not. This is why it's like the instinct part at time it's actually the one thing that you want to be listening to, but most of the time is that one thing that is sometimes actually dangerous. So you don't have a way to go over your instinct. You don't want to, like, I put a small video on the bottom when I made this roundtable, and I said, go and look Steven Spiel's video twice, 3, 4 times, because this information you're getting in there and be able to actually apply it, it's very, very different. It's very, very difficult. Okay, so you knowing that you have an instinct still is not gonna be, it's not gonna be easy for you to govern this instinct. It's not gonna be easy for you to actually to get over that. Like, you still have to work to get better. And when we talk about our particular topic, of course, fitness, I said I was gonna try to do my best with what I have, with my knowledge, to actually make this process crystal clear for you, to actually know what's happening, why should we get results, how do we govern our thoughts, right? And how do we make sense of it, okay? So everybody is different, and in this call, everybody came in here. Some of you have some eating disorder, some of you have bad relationship with food, some of you have struggling with with managing your life, some of you are frustrated from not having or having results of your routine or something. Every time in our life we have this instinct part, this emotional part, that whether or not you're getting what you want to get in life, you're being very, very reactive. When you say you have an instinct personality or you have like a reactive personality, that's what we talk about. It's like very, very reactive, me included, right? If I see that people don't appreciate my work, I'll take it very personal. Well, we shouldn't really. It's more like, who can we be? How can we not judge people? How can, like that? So I wanted to obviously take some examples here and see if we can relate this to when we eat, right? And there's psychology behind it. So if everybody is different and somebody has a eating disorder, right, there is a psychology portion behind it. Chances are he has anxiety, is stressed. There is something like that has to do for much longer than just months, right? It's something has to do with years. Some people have bad relationship with food, and it's kind of things that you built in. This was my relationship with food, and when I used to drink alcohol more, it's like going out all the time. So the instinct you have, by you saying, no, I'm not going to do it, or by you taking off the environment and not do it, right? This is actually, the instinct is like telling you to do it anyway, right? It's your kind of emotional part of the limbic system telling you, let's do this thing anyway. It's not going to be that bad, right? But then you do it, and the psychology and the physiology after the physiology portion, when you eat one drink, right? And the one of you here that like to drink a few drinks know what it is. The physiology after it makes you continue. So there is no way of kind of like melting the two together. Like, either you choose to do it and you're okay with that, or you choose not to do it. Our brain will make us do things that at times we know they're not right, just because we don't have enough commitment, just because we don't have enough discipline. This is much stronger than us. So you'll do it anyway, and then the physiology take its path. So it's kind of like, if you see this food, you see something like, I don't know, a donut that you like it. If you like it, you'll see it. You will think, should I eat or should I not eat it? You can do the exercise we have on the binge eating module, and I count until 10. And sometimes it's not going to be enough. Sometimes you need to eat it. Okay? So you eat it, and then the physiology part, so the sugar raises from the insulin, and if the food is addictive enough, you're going to eat more and more and more. And then you're going to get a reaction after that. You're going to feel positive. You're going to feel negative. You're going to feel like you mess up the whole week. We're talking about with some people here that in the beginning of the week, they were thinking, no, I messed up the whole week because I had like some binge eating happening, right? So it's like, this is exactly what's happening. First, your instinct, then the psychology, and then the physiology take over, and then your instinct again. It's kind of give a judgment, a good and a bad judgment. Why can people be successful in life more than other? Is the people that really are not letting this get over that. You can be rational. You see, in our program, we like to say, we look over facts. We don't look at we hardly look at any emotion. We look at facts, okay? I like to celebrate your win, but I like you look at you at facts, not Do I get results? Why my body is not getting results? Then I have to get negatively impacted by it. So it's very, very important for you to understand this part. When we, if you have an eating disorder, right? After that, you're feeling guilty, then you purge maybe, or maybe you feel really bad. So this is kind of like an additional psychology, anxiety portion on that. But first, it all starts from our limbic system saying, yes, should I decide to eat? Should I not decide to eat? If I don't eat, how am I going to feel? So there is not so many ways to get over that, specifically because we don't know where it's coming from. Like we need to do, there is at least a good year of work within ourselves. Why do we eat? Why do we feel like eating sweets? Why is this coming from? Is this coming from an emotional part of our life that we had in the past? Is it coming from, when I see sweets, I remember some sad part of my life. We attach to maybe some depression, some emotion, some positive emotion, some sadness, some boredom. We always attach it to something. So we need to really go into deep and ask ourselves, do I really need this? Yes or no? Where is this coming from? And you really want to always go a layer deep and a layer deep just to understand technically what our monkeys or instinct coming from. Because like we need to understand, why do we feel like doing these things? This is very, very important, okay? When you spend a good 6 months of time understanding what it is, then you want to tackle it. Then you want to say, how do we remove the trigger? Right? In the same time, what we want to do in the same time, and this is on the other side, I'm going to give you a visual right now. We have our 3 circle, and how can we get over that? I'm going to teach you how. How can we put Band-Aids, so very Band-Aids in your body, since we cannot take away the root cause. The root cause is the instinct. We cannot take away that, at least not in a good year time from now. Like unless we cannot do that, how do we put Band-Aids? How can we fix problems? How can we make momentary fixes, right? And then like, how can we shift from momentary fixes to something we can live with until we don't understand where it's coming from? So this is kind of like how we're gonna get to do it. So Steven Peters on that video give like 4 ways to actually get kind of like box the monkey, be reactive, be like the reward, give whatever. Like I see it in a different way. I see it more kind of like in a way to how small little tests that we can do to actually make this thing happen first, right? But also to acknowledge, what really this thing is about. It's about the origins, that our behavior comes from. So really, it's really a lot of work that we have to do with ourselves and ask ourselves always an extra question and say, why do we really eat? Why do we really do this? If we are reactive, why do we really reactive with our family? If we judge people, why do we judge people, right? Because this really comes down to definite statement. And, I'm going to make an example how our brains relate with each other differently. So our frontal lobe, right? If we meet in a social gathering, for example, and somebody tells you, for example, oh, you lost weight, right? And you lost weight, or you get worse. Let's say you gain weight, right? Our monkey part or our instinctive would say, what the hell are you saying? It's like, look at yourself, right? Like this is very reactive, almost like personal, right? Then, like maybe you even word that, you say to people that, right? And then like people would say, oh, but that's not what I meant, right? So kind of like the computer process everything, and it's like, oh my God, now I made a mess. Oh, I'm sorry, right? So you see how many times you hear people, even in this program, say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do this. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do that. I'm sorry, I said it many times. Sorry will not cut it. Sorry will not give you any results. Like, sorry, it's like, don't be sorry. Just learn from the mistakes. Don't say sorry. Like, don't say sorry unless you mean it. Like, that means like process the thought first is very, very important. And kind of like, let's say, what can I learn from the mistakes I made? What can I learn from my failures, right? This comes down to really making that. So you want to change your statements, right? Instead of could, right? Sorry, instead of should, this should be, right? For example, if somebody cuts you off in the red light in front of you and you let them go, like with a car, somebody, instead of saying thank you, they don't really care, right? You stop in the red light, let them go. And you say, they should say thank you, right? And if they don't say thank you, our instinct would say, oh, this motherfucker don't even say thank you, like I let him go. It's like, instead of could, like you're very reactive, you're getting a very negative emotions. Maybe that negative emotion will even link you to eat something in the moment. If you really have like a bad relationship with food, would even make you link you to eat something, right? While if you say, why, I mean, these people could say hi, right? Could say thank you, because it's like you don't get reactive at all. You don't really care, right? So the other statement you can create or not create is must and might, right? It's like, instead of saying, I must go to the gym, and if I don't go, in case, let's say you don't go, you feel really bad because you feel guilty, right? Then you say, I may go to the gym. There is a possibility I go. If I don't go, I'm not going to be reactive. You see how we are still able to manage our thoughts in a positive way and say, yes, I mean, I'm not going to be reactive. Like, not be reactive, your hormones are going to be in place, your psyche is going to be in place. Be reactive, everything is all over the place. You create chaos in your life, and you kind of like creating chaos makes you eat sometimes, make you drink, make you go out with friends, make you, based on the response somebody gave you in that day that you didn't like, okay, I'm not going to care, I'm going to do whatever I want, right? It's like psych, you can control your psych if you ask yourself always an extra question, and if you make a statement in a way that you cannot be reactive. There are additional things of this that you can actually make up yourself, but definite statement is probably one of the most important part. How do you make everything simpler? Everything simple is better. Okay, I always heard this word about simple is always better. So do less and less tasks, right? I see this in this program all the time. The people, we made up a pretty, I want to say, very, very good program in a way of delivery of a lot of information. A lot of information is good. A lot of information sometimes is bad. Too much information is definitely too bad. You see it on the marketplace. And I see people attaching to this all the time. The pyramid of the exercise says adherence, so exercise, then frequency, so how many the volume, frequency, and everything. So then session, then exercise, then selection. So you see how the exercise selection is up here, but I will still see people like, focusing on it's like, oh, if I didn't do this particular exercise, this particular hit, I'm kind of like not getting what I want. You get very reactive again, right? So when instead simplify everything. So instead we have Elena here, like this is a good example. Last time you told me, can I do yoga as well? It's like, yeah, because like you exercising, some in the gym, some at yoga, that's like the big picture is better than just you getting kind of reactive and say, no, I cannot exercise if I don't do my yoga. So it's kind of like simplify everything. I made a roundtable in the past, 3 simple tasks in a week, 3 simple tasks every day for eating the results. So you know that you need to get by the next of the week, I've lost 0.5 kilo. Let's say this is our target. How do I do that? I decrease the calorie. I know that I need to create 4,000 calorie decrease. How do I make it in such a way that every single day I'm gonna be able by the end of the week to decrease it? Do I decrease it by 300 calorie less every single day? Or do I just eat whatever I want and in the weekend I don't eat at all? Or am I calm during the week and then I have like a few drinks and a beer and a pizza in the weekend? Like, you can do it whatever you want, but simple is better. So simplify your life. This is actually the harder thing, because if you simplify your life, you're not going to get stressed. You're not going to get reactive. And that chances are you're actually going to be able to measure or like kind of like control your psyche better. Okay. This is another few tips that I can give you. Obviously, the other one, and this is, it sounds redundant, but this is exactly what you need to hear. So don't look for what's next. With the mentality in humans, we always get to a task, we finish the task, cool, what is next now? Some people are on week number 10, what is the next week? What is the next week? I know it's cool, right? But what's next is always what was in the beginning, technically. It's like, what's next is always like, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to always have to follow that rules. You always have to be always, like creating a deficit or, not creating a deficit based on what your goal is. But what's next is refinition. It's like always getting better on what you already know. This program will always deliver new information. You want to cherish this information. There is a reason why we have maybe like 10 videos on the bottom of the website about how to travel, how to do vacation, how to grocery shop. you need to master what you already know. People that do karate, they go from white belt to black belt in 10 years. And the funny thing is like that the skill never change, the experience does. Like there is not information every single week new. There is like, how can I know, how can I get this week better, right? Example, you get to lose 2 kilos, right? Now you're in week 6, and I tell you, we take the same exact thing that we learned in the 6 weeks, we make things better in 7 weeks. You get to week number 12, same thing again. How do I hit those calories? With improving my macro. I hit my macro now. How do I know? How do I improve my food selection? Next step. How do I know about if I have any allergy? How does this food, which is carbohydrates, pasta, relate to me in less of George, instead of Georgia, instead of Ira, instead of Marisa, instead of Giselle? Like, what is this? How does this, what pasta does to me compared to somebody else? Even if it's the same calorie, even if it's that. But you don't do that in week number 1. You do that when you know the basis already. Otherwise, we get people like somebody, which I'm not gonna make any name, which again is not about pointing people out or not. It's like we get like these people. I'm working in this field for 20 years, and I have these people all the time. Like they for example, they want to know, for example, what let's make an example. What is better, peas or lentils? Lentils or peas, right? But now you don't hit your calorie, you don't hit your macros, you don't hit your workouts, like you don't do the workout like that. And then like you tell me, I don't feel like I'm getting results because the peas, I read that the peas, they have like the estrogen going up, right? So it's like you're looking at the small picture, you forget to look at the big picture. So you see how everything needs to be mastered, information needs to be mastered at a greater level, right? Like I'm like on my own, I have a single coach for every single thing I do. I master information. Like I wish I can show you the books. I have like a shelf of books over there. When I read a book once, for me, it's not even reading. Like I'm not gonna know this information. You need to master. You need to leave it there. You need to know when somebody ask me a question about something. Cool. I'm gonna go look for it. I'm gonna give you an answer. And everything is science based. So you don't wanna, like, you really need to master information you already know. This is also very important. And of course, you already know. Enjoy the process. Just know that, results are, you don't want to look what's next. You want to look what's now. You want to look how closer you get to the results. You want to love the process, because if you're always looking for what's next, you're always living in fantasy, and you don't live in the present. You don't live, you don't enjoy the moment. You don't love the process. You don't love what you learn. And ultimately, of course, create space for yourself and celebrate the wins, right? Because if you don't value what you did, and for example, we have Marisa here. Then Marisa, you get amazing results, and you told me, when I saw you live, I was like, look, you're getting amazing results, and you lost only 2 centimeters. Look at your picture, the difference. This is completely almost different. So you celebrate your win, create space for yourself, and say, where am I now compared to 6 weeks ago? Where am I now compared to 12 weeks ago? Where am I now compared to 20 weeks ago? Because if you don't do that, you're going to compare yourself, unfortunately, to the wrong people. The wrong people are the people not in the program, people on Instagram that tells you that with a pill, you can get the abdominals, right? And if you do that, nothing is really going to change, because you don't value what you have right now. You need to value what you have right now. And now, of course, I'm going to give you the most important part of the actual roundtable, which is basically what you really need to know in terms of that. We get our 3 circles here. Just draw it out real quick. This is you in the middle, okay? This is the mindset. And this is the metabolic compensation, the Bandaid. And this is actually the instinct part, the limbic system, whatever. So on top of that, we have the impulse, we have the control or not being in control, we have the stress, we have stuff like looking at something, the food, and you're gonna be reactive, right? So you are reactive, right? And this circle here, this one you cannot control. This is I want you to start asking yourself question: why? How is this circle? I wanna see 70 comments, whether or not you're here today or not. I wanna see in the replay 70 comments. how does my instinct relate to me? Like, what does my instinct, like, when I look at something, why do I eat? I'm gonna put that on a comment box like later on. What do I, when I eat, what do I feel? Why do I eat? Like, why do I eat? I want you to comment that. This is something you cannot control right now. I want you to start asking yourself questions for the next 12 months of your life, whether or not you're going to be in the program. I want you to ask yourself the question, why am I eating? How can I improve that? What does that do to my life, right? The mindset, the metabolic compensation. This is what's going to make you get a positive mindset around this thing. This is what I'm teaching you, which half of the marketplace, I want to say 90% of the marketplace doesn't. Like, the fact that you can eat, if like you can fit your macro, okay? So you can, if you fit your macros, for example, you fit your macro is like the thing everybody knows, but it's kind of like saying, if you hit your calories, or if you go overboard and if you have a cheat meal, or if you still hit your calorie, you can still eat the food that you know is bad, that your instinct telling you not to eat or eat, right? But you can still fit it in your macro. You can still see results. Is that the best thing we can do? No, but it's still giving, it can put a Band-Aid. Here we're putting a Band-Aid. Here we're putting a Band-Aid in this circle here. We're putting a Band-Aid because we know the body doesn't think in days, the body thinks in weeks, right? So if I mess up my, we have Laura here, I'm gonna use you as an example. You asked me, I feel like I should be hitting 1500, right? But I'm gonna have a dinner, I'm gonna mess up. So you know two things. You can still fit your macros in the week. You're putting a Band-Aid, right? You know that you should be eating, like it's a whether or not you have a problem with food or not, like you still something that you want to enjoy your life. You know you're gonna go overboard with a cheat meal or whatever. You're gonna put a Band-Aid because you know that your body doesn't think in weeks. Maybe 6 weeks ago you didn't. Maybe I know if you knew or not, but 6 weeks ago, for most people here, don't know that you're not gonna store any fat within 3 weeks time. If you eat 3,000 calories a day right now, it's gonna like 7,000 calories. You need to have to store a kilo of fat, and to store a kilo of fat effectively, you need to have 7,000 calories, like at least on a 3-week basis, so 2-week basis, because 7,000 this week, if you do a week that you take off this 7,000, right? So if you do 7,000 more this week, but you take off this 7,000 next week, you probably stay the same. And this is a band. This is kind of like I'm saying how to put a Band-Aid on thing, right? So this is one of the things I'm gonna make. 2 or 3 presentations in the month of October about metabolic compensation, about how to build a body without dieting, right? And about how to the law of metabolic compensation, which is are 4 or 5. Very, very. I'm gonna go in detail next time. This is not the moment, but it's kind of like, when you know this law, you're putting yourself a Band-Aid. So you know, here you don't feel good, right? But here you do, because you know, how can I fix this, right? I mean, like, I can still hit my macros, I can still do this, I can still do that. How many of you came into this program thinking that if you hit a pizza, you're gonna get fat? Raise your hand. Yeah, because like you don't know the metabolic compensation of like, it's like, if you hit a pizza, or if you just eat a slice of pizza, whatever you eat, like you can still compensate it. So law of metabolic compensation, you're gonna learn this law. It's gonna be 5. I'm gonna send out a Zoom. This is gonna go to the marketplace. It's gonna be including the people on the program and out of the program, because I want almost all of you acting like a testimonial for them. Like, we're gonna shoot it out to all the people that apply. I want everybody to know the law of compensation. This is something I feel like it should be free for everybody, the law of compensation, because we are doing a service to the people for 30 minutes to say, like, this marketplace is telling you that if you hit a pizza, you're getting fat. And this is not the way it works. Like, you should know that this is not the way it works. This is something like everybody has to know. So, and then of course the mindset. This is one thing that you can control. And this you control, this one, the mindset you control based on how well you do this. The feelings is something you want to work on. The compensation I'm teaching you, right? How well do you compensate? How well your mindset is going to be. Why we have people after 12 weeks still looking at the scale? Because you don't learn this, you don't come to roundtables, you don't do the work, and then like you're so reactive for everything that happens. So what I said before, you want to not be reactive. You want to be in control. You want to know that this is a lifestyle, whether or not you're going to stay in the program or leave, whether or not you're going to do that, the lifestyle is going to have to be there, because like there is no quick fix. There is no other thing you cannot control. There is like, I mean, you must do the work. You know that you have to do 3 to 5 workouts a week. You know that you have to count your calorie. You know that you have to be in charge of your knowing a little bit about what's happening, you know, in terms of you choosing or not choosing food. You know that you have to count, you have to put good habits in your life. You have to refine the habits you already have. Like you do need to, you know, embark in a journey, and you need to be appreciative of it. Like you need to say, cool. Some people see results every week. Some people don't see results for 2 weeks, and then you lose 2 weeks and all at once, 2 kilo all at once. So like you need to understand that not every single week you're gonna have results, and how well do you manage your mindset or your psyche is gonna be due to learning this basic information that the marketplace is not telling you. You know, instead of following a diet and say, fuck diets, no more diets in your life. Like you don't need diets. You need to understand nutrition, you need to understand calorie counting, you need to understand macros, you need to understand working out, you need to understand no cardio. Like unless I advise, no cardio means like that you get stressed, there is never gonna be enough calorie burn in your cardio to be able to burn 7,000 calories in a week. This one you need to take home. And if you do, and if you're a hardcore person that just go and say, I burn 1,000 calories a day of running, your stress level, especially in women, is going to be so high. Your water is going to be retaining so much that you're not going to look good anyway. So on top of you being stressed, on top of you not getting results, you will end up in a loop that is going to go down a spiral, and you're going to say, fuck, I'm putting this so much work and I don't see results. Why? And you're going to ask me, it's like, why don't I see results? And I will say, because like, doing too much is not always better. So we don't work out to burn calorie. We work out to get a better system. We don't we don't diet specifically to cut calorie only. We diet in a way that we kind of want to create a deficit on a sweet spot. Not too much, not too little. Sweet spot. That's why we have this constant in this program change all the time. That's why we have Georgia here. That's why we have in the future here doing that. That's why we're going to have more coaches as big as we are. Like we're going to have coaches, because my approach is coaching people. It's not giving you something for you to do and never talk to me again. It's like, how can we refine things? It's an investigation work every single time. So how do we get better is knowing this information, learning this information, mastering the information, and putting the mindset next to it. These two circles here. These two circles is the only two circles you can control right now, and this is the two circles you need to control. This is like, I'm gonna learn this information. In fact, when you get out, like if you are not, like people that are not here and they can get results is because they found, for example, a diet, whatever that is, that they can actually control, that it doesn't mess with their brain and it doesn't mess with their outcome. Like we have, like I'm gonna use my girlfriend as an example. When she is motivated, when she actually gets super 100% motivated, she does carb cycling. She's very good on following something, right? But as she knows, and like I tell her all the time, the problem is that you cannot follow something restrictive for the rest of your life, and then like the motivation stops when you don't see results. This is why the second chance the motivation stays off from you in the group. That's why I force people to post, because I want people to ignite this fire, right? And why I need the motivation to stay up, because you're all are your small little blocks. Like you want to get always more and more and more and more. And then the habits I teach you in between, then you're going to keep, right? The habits take minimum 15, 20 weeks, one habit. We have 10 habits to master at least when we know that we want to get great on something. So as other diets fail all the time, and that's how we strive on that, is because I give you the right information so you can do it so simply, so you don't feel restricted to one single thing. Like you can do as much, you can eat whatever you want, you know your calorie count, you know that you, even if you don't do a specific workout, it's still okay. Then we keep the motivation high with the group. And lastly, you keep the motivation high because I want you to be here before dies down, I want you to learn all the habits that I need to teach you. Not learn it, master it. Not learn it once, no, thrive and do it and do it and do it and do it until it's become second nature. I see a progression from people here that have been here very long. We see obviously, I even hired Georgia as a coach. We see Connie here. We see let me see who's here a little bit longer. Suzanne is here. Like now let me see. I don't see. Mada is here. Christina is also here for a long time. I see people that are here a long time that, and I'm talking over 12 weeks or maybe 15 weeks, mastering this thing. Okay, so this is very, very important. And of course, so it's all about master things over and over and over and over again. All of you are doing amazing. All of you are doing amazing progressions. All of you are getting results. It's about how well you can keep results. Girls, hopefully this roundtable was clear enough. It's not an easy topic to teach. I'm going to have a speaker, if I can, doing it for me, because like she specializes on this kind of stuff. But I wanted to touch on it because this is self-sabotage and mind trap. This is how you fuck yourself up. Like, this is how with your brain, when you look at something, you feel like you need to hit when you don't need to hit. I'm going to turn this thing off. It's going to finish now. I'm going to reboot it. For the hot seat, I want most of you here, if you need any question or anything, or if you want to talk about this topic, I'll be here to answer questions for the next 30 minutes. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And take this replay and watch it again. This is the key important thing to do for sure. Take care. Thanks, everybody, for coming over. Thanks. I'll boot over again.